Are you on a forklift?
Yeah, yeah.
You are a son of a bitch.
Un saluto a
Hey.
tutti.
Ciao a tutti, welcome to the AJC. We are live, all right, and rocking it
We
here.
did
I
it.
got Anthony with me here. What's up, my man?
We did it. We're on.
Yeah, we're trying out some new software, so we're going to see how this goes. This is the trial run, all right, everybody. So, again, I don't really know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to
Again,
play out. I see
this has
that
to
for
be
whatever reason, and it, of
yes.
course, didn't go this way in the testing, but I can't actually access the live chat, and I don't know
Oh,
why. It should be coming up, and after all this work and whatnot, I have no idea why the live chat is not here. But I'm upset about it. I'm very upset about it.
good thing it's 2023 and we have phones that we can actually just read it off of here. But listen, you want to know something? This should just be totally transparent to listeners. Again, we don't apologize for anything. We're learning as you're learning, and we're doing the best we can. You want to know something? Deal with it.
Yeah, it's just it's infuriating because it all goes
Yes.
smooth in testing and it's
Sure.
there and I could see the chat and whatnot, and all of a sudden when you need it most, when you actually are live, not testing, it's just not there and it's gone. Oh man, brutal, brutal. You've got it there. We can kind of pull it up. The other alternative, of course, too, is we can just we could literally go to the old slot just to get it going. But I think we just chat. I think we just get this going. You've got the comments on there. You could pull them up
Yep.
and whatnot. There's a lot to discuss. So we'll just get into it from there. But right out of the gate here, I think we should kick things off with Leonardo Bonucci and this situation and whatnot, because obviously the guy on his own is always has been this guy that just he's kind of similar into Allegri in the sense that he's got fans not 50-50 on the fence. It's love or hate with Bonucci. It always has been. And here he is going to legal action with the club and whatnot.
Is he?
And
Is that for sure? I heard mixed conflicting reports
well,
on that.
apparently he had. So there's a lot that's come out and whatnot. And we
Yeah.
can think back, and this timeline actually makes sense. But it was reported that way back in April and whatnot, Juve was planning for a farewell and everything, wanted to give him a send off and whatnot. He rejected it. So the news is with the rumors about Allegri potentially not being here this season and whatnot, he was looking at, I'm going to stick around. I'm going to play my cards and see what happens. Obviously, the confirmation of Max Allegri, going back to what was discussed with him in April, he's not in the plans moving forward and whatnot. But I heard that, he is taking legal action. It's probably going to go to arbitration so that he gets a cut and then gets a break or whatnot. I think Juve was trying to push for him to take a leave to a team. So obviously they won't have to face anything financially. Nobody's going to pay him the wages that we were giving him anyways. So it was kind of this ridiculous plan in a sense from Juventus because nobody's going to pay him what we're paying him. But here we are nonetheless, and it's a bad look, bad situation that it's in. I think Bonucci's wrong, to be honest, in taking that route. That's just me, but again, Ant, let's get your thoughts on it.
Well, I think you got a bunch of hardliners on both sides, right? So you have Juventus who's trying to clean house. They're trying to do what they can for fiscal responsibility. They're also trying to do what they can for Max to get him the team that he wants. If this were Cleany, I think there'd be a bigger uproar, to be honest. Or if this were Barzagli, I think it would be a bigger uproar. Bonucci sort of has that. He's lost that shine on the hood with going to Milan and then coming back. For me, I think he has every right to get whatever he can through arbitration. He signed a contract, right? The contract's there. It's his, right? He has every right to do that. I think this is going to get. I think this is going to get settled outside of either arbitration or outside the courts. So, they're going to find something, either a position for him and the staff. Actually, do you think after all this, you'll see him coming on the staff after all this?
Bonucci?
Yeah,
Not the
probably
best
not.
route to take if that's
Yeah,
if that's a long-term goal.
I to be honest, I think they'll settle out of court. They'll settle out of court to give him some sort of severance, undisclosed, undisclosed sum, but we'll eventually find out anyways because we're a publicly traded company. But no, just pay him his money. I think he's earned it. Whatever it is, I wouldn't say a full year's contract, but there has to be some sort of severance in there. They'll come to some sort of agreement.
Yeah. I feel like that's what's got to happen. It's just, yeah, kind of nasty. But again, because it's Bonucci, it's not the end of the world. It's not the be all end all. It's not a huge thing, but it still just kind of sucks.
But this is one thing that all Juventini agree on for once.
Yeah.
Is that Bonucci shouldn't be in the plans for 2023.
Yeah. If you're looking at the chat there, and what's coming up on Bonucci?
Well, let me just start with Sal here. He had a quick question saying, "I'm trying to figure out how to watch the game at my sister-in-law's wedding today." Enjoy the wedding, Sal. Like, don't even. It's a friendly. Like, don't even worry about it. What else we got here?
Atalanta, whatnot. And to be honest, I was looking this morning to try and figure out how it's going to be watched, how it can be viewed, and whatnot. And I couldn't find anything. To be honest,
Okay.
I'm not quite sure, and it might just be because it was still quite a bit earlier, whatnot. But usually, you can know, this close to kickoff. We're about just under 6 hours to kickoff. You should know, but I can't see anything as of right now, so no. I'm not too sure.
I think we'll be fine. There's some questions about somebody. So Antonio has the feeling that Caviglia will stay. I think we'll get to that. I think the Caviglia talk staying will wrap up when we talk about Rovella. That's on the docket to talk about, so we'll save that for later. Bonucci knows he's not wanted at Juventus. His agent should just get him. This is Jeremiah. His agent should just get him a lucrative contract in the MLS or Saudi League.
Yeah, I mean, MLS makes sense, to be honest. They pay good. Like, MLS pays very well for these guys at those stages of their career, and it's probably more desirable certain destinations in the States, obviously, than Saudi Arabia to a guy like Bonucci, I would think. But I don't know. Reunite with his buddy Chiellini, play for a different team in California if you want, or go to the Eastern States. I'm not sure, but that's what I would probably be going for. But I think, this big thing, this big piece that's always been lingering around is he's got some types of thoughts about Euros, man, with the Azzurri, and it's wild to me.
I think we got bigger problems with the Azzurri when it comes to the Euros. Like, how about we just qualify first? Can we just qualify for a major tournament?
Well, the Euros were good because we won the last. World Cup is a different story. But Euros we're in. We still got to go through qualification. They still got to figure out their roster and what Mancini's going to do. And Mancini is also got questions being asked, so who really knows, right? But yeah, we'll kind of see what goes down there. The defense, though, if we're looking at the defense of Juventus, so Coney DeVinter's deal got finalized. It's a loan. It's an obligation to purchase under certain conditions, 10 million euros.
Which we don't know what the conditions are.
We don't know the details on the conditions yet. So he's moving on. If you look at our defense now, so it's Gatti, Bremer, Danilo for your three center backs, Rugani and Sandro as the two coming off the bench, and it looks like that's where it's going to end at center back.
Yep.
So I want to know, how do you feel about that, and what are your thoughts if that's our five going into this season?
If we had a European competition, even Conference League, I'd have an issue with it. Since we're just Coppa Italia and Serie A, no issues. I have no issues with going in with that. J Medical does make me a little uneasy, obviously, because their track record is absolutely atrocious. That should be good enough. It should be good enough for the season. The only saving grace is that we have Houston there, if needed. I think Houston is impressed enough for him to come in a pinch to log some minutes. I wouldn't say come in to replace anybody as a starter. He will eventually,
Yeah.
but I think that's why they've seen enough out of him that he's going to be he'll fit right in if needed.
Yeah. I don't know. Like
You want one more, don't you? You want one more player.
we do have a couple aging guys. Granted, Danilo's in great physical condition, shape,
Mm-hmm.
played a ton last season and whatnot. But I mean, if I'm looking at it, he's aging. Sandro for me doesn't really count. I would have liked, and it's funny because you're going out of your way to push a guy like Bonucci out. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going out of your way to push a guy out that's on the same money essentially. That's been as bad, probably longer than Bonucci. I would argue that point actually that Sandro was at a point to go before Bonucci reached that point. But it kind of to me feels like one of those same scenarios where Juve just never goes to that next step or next wave or this contingency planning thing that we've had a little bit of struggles with. And I'm going to talk about that just in a sense when we get to Rovella as well. But the
Mm-hmm.
contingency planning thing for me, we saw it with, okay, we pulled in great deals on Demiral, Romero, whatnot, but then neither one stays around and you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. These guys aren't getting any younger. And okay, so next year Sandro's gone. Bonucci's cleared this year and whatnot, but you've got Coney DeVinter moved on. Houston, we're hoping for. He's still only going to be 18.
Yeah.
So it's this planning thing, right? So it's a little bit strange to me. If these are the names, I wouldn't mind one more. If you had a young buck or a couple of younger bucks, I'd be like, okay, maybe we're all right. But Rugani's been reliable for a couple seasons now. I have no problem with Rugani. In terms of his extension, though, pump the brakes on that. There's no need to decide that right now.
Zero need. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting back to your contingency planning, is this the season? Is this the season to be? Uh, I guess it would be. This would be the season to bring in players because you're playing. You're not playing in Europe to bring in players to start to fill in your empty spots. Is this the? I don't know how I'm trying to ask this question, but you're saying contingency plans. Is this the season to be implementing your players to fill in roster spots in terms of your contingency plan?
Well,
Because you don't have a lot of games to do it.
when I'm looking at this, would it not be the season to kind of do some contingency planning when you're playing one comp and you have a lot of these young guys ready to go and you're trying to clean up and you're trying to clean up wages and you're trying to gain money and whatnot? Like, it kind of makes sense. Like, we have this great thing going where our young guys, and we've seen it, they can ball right now. We haven't had
Mm-hmm.
that at Juve for a long time. A lot of the young guys that we had that fans were rooting for, whatnot, like would get out there and they just don't seem to make an impact or make any kind of statement. But right now, like, these guys can ball, like
Okay,
they
so I
can
think we're
play.
saying the same. We're saying the same thing. I'm saying we don't have to buy anybody to do that
And I'm not
because we
saying,
have.
yeah, we got to do it like by shopping necessarily, but I mean, if you're looking at contingency planning and cleanup,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
doing whatever you can to get Sandro out was the play and bring in Coney DeVinter and let him stick around this year. And that saves you a ton just in
But who's?
salary alone.
But that no one wants to buy Sandro. So like, what are we talking about here?
I know, but if you're ready to, it's gotten to a point with Bonucci where you're going to legal action and you're probably going to pay a fraction of the salary and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah,
Take
over
Sandro to
half.
arbitration and pay a fraction and get it over with and done with, and then you can move on.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
funny to me, but we know why. All right? We know why. We know
Why?
why.
Why? Okay, but was Sandro not more useful than Bonucci last year?
Yeah, but
Like,
two wrongs don't make a right. Like, when are we gonna get to the contingency planning? That's what I'm curious. And now we get to the whole kind of theme of today's show, which is what's the plan? What's the plan? Because you've now moved Rovella. Done deal. Okay.
is it a sale or a
Little
loan?
bit of
We don't know.
mixed reports there because DiMarzio was saying Pellegrini was being loaned and then purchased, but Rovella was outright sale. You have others saying that Rovella's in a loan as well and then purchase. Either way, the funds of this whole thing come together around 21 million euros, but we have to wait for the final numbers. But
Right.
for shits and giggles, we're going to use that as,
That's what we're gonna go. With.
so we're going to go with what's being reported right now. So 17 million euros, all right? So for Rovella's portion only. Let's say that Pellegrini was thrown in there and we sold Rovella for 21 because we bought Rovella for 20 million, okay? That's the part that
26.
pisses me off the most. Number one, everybody knows how I feel about Rovella. Everybody's knows. I've waved the flag forever for wanting to see this guy in a Juve kit. I've been strong member of the Rovella Hive. It sucks because the numbers are absolutely brutal, okay? I can wrap my head around the fact that you might be concerned about his ability to stay fit. And at a kid at this age with this track record already for injuries, and given our history and having Pogba on the list already with him not accepting outside offers, I can wrap my head around all that. What I can't wrap my head around is how we show backbone in certain deals and we absolutely get fleeced on Rovella. Because if you're going to go out there and tell me a guy like Ibanez is worth 30 million euros and Rovella is only worth 17 or 20, I'm going to call bullshit on that every single time I see it. We bought him for 20. You want him? The price tag for high prospect players. Okay, this is historic because we
bought him for 26. We bought him for 26 million.
Okay, great. The high prospect players, okay, guys that are supposed to be next big thing, has always been 30 to 40 million euro range. Okay, 30 to 40 million euro range has always been that. Now, if you want to take a hit because, he's had injury concerns, whatever. Well, last year, barely. The year before that, bad. And the year before that, barely. But if you want to take a hit, that's fine. To the tune of 17 million euros. 17. Fleeced, man. Absolutely fleeced, and for no reason at all. We own them to 2026. I get that this team needs to generate money. We'll go over the funds in a bit here, and I get that. But you cannot, in my opinion, get to the point where you are essentially giving away assets. That is a bad business move. And we'll talk about what could be on the backside of it. Because I said I could wrap my head around moving Rovella because, and I said this when the Vlahovic Chelsea thing broke down, I said, well, who is it then? Because something's coming down the pipeline.
Something's got to give. Yep.
Something's got to give. But it doesn't mean we have to drop our pants for it. What do you think, this Rovella thing?
Okay, you and I had a quick chat on this last night, and I'm glad we didn't get into the whole minutia. Do you want to go through those financials first, like the break-even ones? You had those numbers yesterday, because I think that gives people a picture of where we're currently at. Just if you have those numbers,
I can give it
bring
to
those
you
up
guys
really quick.
All right now. And while Ant's talking, I am trying to pull up the chat. You guys, I'm so sorry. I honestly... Ant can attest to this. I've tested this thing out so much this week, okay?
Yeah.
Driving myself nuts. And of course it comes to crunch time and I can't get your guys' comments and your questions. I am watching it on another screen though, and I can see your comments. Okay, so keep them coming. But I got the numbers for you guys, okay?
My favorite moment of testing this week was Lou in his rocking chair, his old man rocking. Now, people call me an old man. Meanwhile, Lou's there in his rocking chair with his laptop. It was kind of weird, but That's okay.
And I see some comments. LJJ saying, I think Rovella isn't even worth more than 20 million. Okay, sure.
Okay. All right,
But-
let's go through the numbers and then we'll go through how I feel about it.
This season, we had two deals that were finalized, okay, and they had to get finalized. And that was Locatelli became the purchase for 30 million euros. Moise Kean became the purchase for 30 million euros after the loan spells ended, okay? Then you have Timothy Weah being purchased, 11.3 million total piece of business. And you have Arkadiusz Milik at 6.3 million euros of business. And Facundo Gonzalez coming in at 2 million euro for this season standing, right? So that's a total sum of just shy of 80 million euros, okay? 79.6 to be exact for expenditures. Over and above this, keep in mind that we had cut into the season where we had 256 million debt. We had cut a big chunk out of that from Cherubini and Arriva Bene. So that came down to roughly 126-ish million that we're in debt, okay? So now you have 79.6 million in expenditures. The sales, the departures, okay? We have Dejan Kulishevsky at 30 million euros piece of business.
Totally forgot about that guy.
You have Radu Dragusin at 5.5.
What did we sell Kulishevsky for?
What, Ant?
Well, what did we sell Kulishevsky for?
It's for this season stands at 30 million euros. Okay? 30 million euros, done piece of business. Radu Dragusin, 5.5 million euro piece of business. Arthur Melo's loan stands us 2 million this season. Filippo Ranocchia, 500K this season. So you have roughly 80 million spent. We have taken in around 38 million. Now, of course, this doesn't include the Zakaria deal, which we're still waiting on the final numbers. It could be somewhere around 20 with bonuses, 23 million euros. Yeah. That helps out big time because that puts us at around 17 to 18 million just to break even on the mercato. But again, they want to go above that to cut into the 120 million deficit. Right. So you want to have more in sales than you have in expenditures. And that's why going to this Rovella thing, for me, it's not even money this year if it's a loan. If it's an outright purchase right now, that gets you at break-even point on the mercato and stops all this shit like Gazzetta saying today, Illing Jr. selling, Nicolucci Caviglia selling, Miretti selling. Relax. We're 17 to 18 million from break-even on the mercato. They want to go above that, so there might be a couple more guys at sale. But when you're starting to talk about we're getting rid of Rovella, I can accept if Kefren Turam comes in. Okay, sweet. If it's Thomas Partey, I will probably throw my head through this window. Okay, this pane of glass that's right next to me. That one.
I have no idea who that human being is, but a lot of people are upset that his name is being thrown around.
Man, we gotta figure this out. I'm not seeing this next move. That some are like, okay, well, there's gotta be this silver lining coming, but where is it gonna work financially when you look at the numbers and what we're trying to do? I don't see it.
Okay, so I'm gonna speak slowly about Rovella. I'm gonna preface my answer with this. I think he's a great talent. I think he would have been a great talent moving forward with Juventus for many years to come. I think he's going to be a great talent with the national team. I do not believe that he is injury prone. I do not. Last season, I think he got hit. I don't think it was something that blew up on him.
Last year was not a bad year for injuries. 21-22 was terrible for him for injuries.
It happens. He's 21 years old. So one thing that has to be remembered is that something I found out this season, I think it was Lou who brought it up, you're only allowed to loan 7 players over the age of 21. Now, Rovella's 21, so I'm not sure if how it works. If it's after his birthday or if it's the year that he's 21, he's still allowed to be loaned. I'm not sure what that is. So I think that is posing a bit of a problem because however many other players we have to loan out, you have to kind of weigh that anyone over the age of 21 to be loaned out. Again, you only have 7 spots to do that. Under 21, I think you can loan out however many you want. So it's almost hard to answer it because there's so much unknown about this. One, you have to take into account that the player wanted to leave. There is a potential that the player has asked to leave, right?
Yeah.
That's one. Juventus has had a bit of a track record of allowing players who don't want to be here to leave. That has to be taken into account. The only thing that sort of bothers me about this is that we could have turned this around into an SMS deal earlier in the summer. I don't know why we waited this long, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. At the end of the day, for me, if this deal means that both Chiesa and Vlahovic stay, I'll do it 8 days a week. All right? For me. In the future, it may turn out to be a bad deal, but that's what business is. Sometimes you got to make deals you don't want to do. Sometimes you're backed into a corner. I think Juventus is backed into a corner a little bit this summer, actually a lot this summer, with being forced to do sales. Berto, you bring up a good point that why not get 25 for him? Sometimes beggars can't be choosers.
I'm not going to disagree with you because I would say the same thing as what you're saying. When it came to Bremer, Vlahovic, Chiesa, I said find alternatives. I'm pissed that it's Rovella. I can wrap my head around it. I'm fine ultimately with us deciding that. I'm not fine with the reimbursement.
With the money.
Yeah. I think we got fleeced. I asked a poll question. I put it in the chat here. We're at 75%. Did we get fleeced for Rovella? 75% yes. And 70-30. 70-30 split in favor of yes, we got fleeced.
I'm going to say I answered no to that. Only because I don't know what the bigger deal is. I think part of it could be, and again, this is just assumption and speculation because that's what we do the best around here. Like, what are we talking about? I think part of it could be, okay, we'll take Rovella off your hands. Sorry, hang on. We'll take Pellegrini off your hands, but we want you to drop the price on Rovella, right? It could be part of that. You know what I mean? Why hasn't the Pellegrini deal been done earlier? I think that could have been in the negotiations. Lazio sitting there saying, all right, we'll take Pellegrini, but make that 21-17 or whatever, 22 million for Rovella, make it 17. That could have been it. It might have been 21 total, but they said we'll give you 17 for him and 4 for the other one. So I think there's a lot that can happen. Well, there is a lot that can happen at the negotiation table. None of us were there.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not terribly upset about it, because sometimes deals just have to be made. And I think over time, I think Giuntoli will make this up. I think I have faith that he'll make it up. He's made some good deals so far. I think he's working well so far. And that's another thing that I don't quite understand. I think we can talk about that maybe later on or right now. People talking out of both sides of the mouth when it comes to Giuntoli. They're like, oh, look at this guy. He got 22 million or whatever for Zakaria. Great work. What the hell is this guy doing selling Rovella for 17? Like, it's like, you can't, is he doing a shit job or is he doing a good job? Like, what is it?
Giuntoli's taking some heat. He's taken some heat after this Rovella one. People are still waiting for moves coming in, and I don't know what to tell you. And by the way, that poll now is at 55-45%. I don't know if it's because you guys are drinking what Ant's putting down there, but something's going on. So,
and we talked about Giuntoli there a while ago. You can't judge a sporting director's tenure on a month and a half of work, right? You can judge him over like 3-4 years. I think we'll get a good idea of what he's doing at the end of next summer. Let's see what he does this winter. Let's see what he does all next summer. Let's see if he gets rid of Max. Let's see if he keeps Max. I think there's a lot more that has to happen before we can pass judgment on this guy. For me, so far, steady as she goes. He's captaining the ship, nice and steady. He's gonna make deals that people don't like.
Yeah,
that's what. And this, I guarantee you that they didn't make this decision lightly. I don't think they were sitting there going, "Oh, thank God we got Rovella off the books." That guy was a pain in the ass. I
Yeah.
don't think that happened. I think this one was tougher than people think.
It's I can
You're bringing too much emotion into it, Al.
I could
Too much
sympathize with
emotion.
all that. It's not emotion. It's just people say we have no leverage. And you guys, we were talking about this in our group chat. You know, Juve's got no leverage in this. Okay? But I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And I don't believe that for the sense that again, he's our player. He's contracted to 2026. He is highly, highly touted. Okay? Highly, highly touted prospect. He's got 3 Serie A seasons under his belt with great reviews when he's in action.
At the age of 21.
Exactly. 3 Serie A seasons under his belt. The guy walks in and starts on what? Half the league? A little more than half the league of teams? Like, we got to be serious here. 17 million? I think we got fleeced. I think we really, really got fleeced. We could come to regret. However, if his injuries things continue, we won't regret it, and it'll be a moot point, whatever. But wouldn't it be better to have gotten 30 and be like, okay, this guy's injured, whatever, than 17 we sold for less than we got him. After amortization, if it's a 1-year loan, that means that next season we make a capital gain on him of somewhere around 6 million. That's it.
Do you think, and I think this is where we're gonna tie this one in, do you think the club looked at Nicolosi Caviglia and said he's 2 years older than Rovella is, which I didn't know. I found that out this morning. I was just like, I didn't know Caviglia was 23. Do you think they said we'll be fine with him there? We can sell Rovella, but put the money out of it. I think as a contingency plan. Do you think they have their contingency plan in Caviglia there for Rovella?
Different mids, but the thing is going around right now is, are we banking on even Moretti potentially sticking around? But I think you'd have to. Like, let's look at our midfielders now. If you're looking at our midfielders now, you've got Fagioli, Rabiot, Locatelli, Pogba, McKennie. I don't count Pogba at all. So we've got 4 midfielders because who knows what Pogba's going to do. 5 minutes, 10 minutes this season, 20 minutes, 100 minutes. Who knows? Okay. I don't even count him.
Help me out. Yildiz is not considered a midfielder. He's considered a striker.
You consider him an attacker, yeah.
Attacker, okay.
But, obviously, Allegri has also been attempting Illing Jr. in the Mezzala role, and now that's starting to make sense to me because they are probably going to go into this season with 5 midfielders and thinking that he's going to utilize somebody in pinches out of that role. So that's probably going to be the list. So they're probably, and again, factoring in those numbers, where we need to get, I dropped the numbers for you guys a little bit earlier. We're still 17 to 18 million euros away from where they want to be. So it's going to be really, really interesting.
Did you hear that? I thought I heard someone screaming. Must have been Lucci at McKennie sticking around this year. That was Lucci. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, so there's another guy. Again, Juve tried. He's just not accepting the places that are coming forth for him, right? So it's tough. It's tough. But I don't know. Even looking at that midfield list, I've been saying you would have to think one of Moretti and Nicolosi Caviglia sticks around right now.
Or both.
Yeah, but that would mean having 7 on your list when you include Pogba. I don't think he's going to do that. I could see 6 and 1 being Pogba because he's also been messing around with Illing Jr. as this Mezzala, right? Because
I didn't get a lot of feedback
here too is one competition. And this is something I'm guilty of forgetting about as well, which is the fact that we're only playing one comp. These guys probably aren't going to get the minutes that
Nope.
we need. And when you make the argument about Rovella, here's my ultimate thing on Rovella, just to wrap things up on it. If it's a minutes thing, okay, I can understand that. I can accept that. But if it ends up being a loan into obligation to purchase, you still, just to sort out the minutes thing, you still don't have to sell them outright because you've got no money coming in this season that helps you this season, that helps the books this season. So you're still not doing anything towards bettering yourself in the FFP scenario, which I said weeks ago on an update video. I would not shoot ourselves in the foot to try and get up to this FFP thing. They've set the precedent with other clubs. If they don't want to follow it for us, which they probably won't, then so be it. Do not lose assets for next to nothing just for the sake of. So again, I stand by this, that I just don't like the piece of business, because if it was a minutes thing from Rovella and all that, that's fine. Send him out on loan again. If that's what you're so worried about, send him out on loan, but don't lose him. Don't lose this asset and get next to nothing in terms of value.
But we still don't know what the loan deal is.
True. I said we were going to discuss this from what has been brought out by the guys so far.
There is a chance. There is a chance that Lazio doesn't meet the obligations or decide to.
If it's an obligation, it's obligation. They're buying.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's going to be obligation. I'm just saying, if it's a matter of minutes, okay, this deal, if it ends up being loan plus, still doesn't make sense. It still doesn't make sense if it's just a matter of minutes. Miretti, Nicolucci, Caviglia. Like, Miretti, I've been saying all last year, I get it. I think he needs a loan, whatever. To be honest, in these preseason games and what I've seen a little bit more than I saw last season out of Miretti. Not enough to make me say we got to keep him, but when I look at our midfielder list, for me it stands the same. I'd still be pushing McKennie, and I'd probably be looking at keeping Nicolucci, Caviglia, and potentially Miretti around, if not at least one of them. I think at least one of those kids needs to stay. At least one out of Miretti and Nicolucci, Caviglia, I would say have to stay. That's just me looking at our midfielder list.
It's the 12th of August. Do you see any more outside of the Rovella deal? And it's already been announced, or sort of announced, Barnechea maybe to Frosinone for a year, and then another loan, potentially Miretti to Bologna. Outside of that, do you see any sales? Do you see McKennie getting sold? Do you see? For me, I don't see any other big sales happening. I think now it's just going to be loans and
the Prem's already fired up. So the Prem's got fired up. I feel like if anybody was coming in for McKennie, it would have been done already. And I feel like he didn't want to go to Turkey. He didn't want to go to the Bundesliga. I just feel like nobody that he's going to accept is going to come in now.
But I just think of something. The positive thing is that these other leagues have started. If a team, and I would never wish this on any player, everybody knows that I would never do that. If a team has a player that picks up a major injury, that's when people start calling. Like in North American sports at the trade deadline. When's our transfer window close? I think it's another 2 or 3 weeks.
We still got a couple weeks.
But I'm not sure if the Premiership, if theirs is still open for international. If someone can help me out with that in the chat. Either way, these leagues still starting up. The potential of injury still means that people could come knocking for
and
players.
I pinned one in the chat there, and that's from Apex. That it's also possible Rovella wanted to leave.
Yeah, I brought that up at the beginning. There was talks of that out there that he asked to leave.
It's quite possible. Okay, and I have managed to get the chat up, everybody. I did end up figuring that out.
There we go.
I
Joe
just,
Cappuccino, 2 weeks to the transfer deadline.
for
Thanks,
whatever
Joe.
reason, won't let me pull you guys up to the screen, but we're now all on the same page, which is fantastic. I'll work on the rest, okay? Minor details again. Trial runs on new software. So
just
far,
take
so
it easy
good,
on us,
though.
all right?
These are minor details. We'll have them dialed in, ready to go. Hey, it's preseason still. That's what preseason.
Keep your comments to yourself. It's preseason. We're still trying to figure things out.
Preseason. Tony Trim. You're damn rights, I got this, man. I got this. Ron Rusitano, September 1st. August 31st. It's 2 weeks till transfer deadline, okay?
I was looking through the comments. I was like, "Who? I don't see a Tony Trim." Oh, yeah.
Tony Trim. It's his nickname. We said you got to get a nickname. So there you go. Joey Cappuccino in here, too. All right, Joey.
Good morning, Joe. I thought it was wedding season for Joe, but looks like he's all weddinged out.
Likes going, everybody, okay? Take a second, please like the video. Of course, subscribe if you're new. All right. I'm going to say that, I don't see a lot of business going down. So Carlos Augusto, I mean, there's another target for us that looks like he's going to Inter.
Yep.
I just see,
no idea who that is.
We keep hearing midfielder. And, of course, wingbacks and whatnot. Again, when I broke down the numbers for us earlier, I just don't see it happening, to be honest. But I always go back to in my head and Max, and I feel like Max is probably sitting there saying, I want one more experienced midfielder.
One more player. Yep.
I could see him saying, like, I want one more experienced midfielder. And when we hear certain names, it may not be the profile that we think we need, but I think he's just looking for an experienced guy to bring in, because I think that there is some flexibility with Locatelli there. A lot of fans will say that that's his natural position as a mid-sala. Everybody knows I don't believe that. He's a two-man pivot midfielder all day, every day. However, he could play there. Okay, I think he could play anywhere in the midfield, but to different degrees and different capabilities, right? But is that the be-all, end-all? Is that what's going to take us over the top? I would have to say no, personally, okay? I think this season has to be a big one for Fagioli. I think Fagioli is going to have to be the guy, and this has to do with Pogba's health and uncertainty, not being able to bank on him. For me, Fagioli is going to be the guy that has to put it all together for this Juventus to click. And that is if Vlahovic remains, Chiesa, obviously we keep everything the same. For me, Fagioli, we're going to be relying on Fagioli to be that guy.
Hang on. Luca is a son of a bitch. Did Tony get a spray tan? Are you serious? That's pretty funny, though. No, the answer is no, you banana head. Anywho,
Luca.
Okay, question on Fagioli. I've never done the shoulder thing, but I know guys who've done their shoulders in or their collarbones, and that son bitch slips in and out sometimes. Did you do it once? Your shoulder, and do you have the weak shoulder? I can't remember who you were talking to. But
it was 5 minutes into a match. It was a wet pitch and everything, raining like crazy. I slipped and I braced myself, and my shoulder dislocated this way. It was nasty, and I was like in shock, and I'm like looking, I'm like, oh my god. And
that's not supposed to bend that way.
Guy off the other team runs by, he's like, what is happening? And he looks, and I'm like, dude, you got to get it back in for me. And he's like, he literally, I'm not even kidding, started gagging. He like walked away, puked. And
Thanks
then I'm like,
help,
so I pop it back in, okay? And everybody knows, fino alla fine, play the game out. At the end of the game, man, I was in so much pain. And
oh yeah.
And I just like, I don't know, man, stubborn Italian thing. I don't know. I didn't go see anybody or do anything, whatever. I thought nothing of it. I healed up. It took a bunch of time for the pain to go away. But over time, I could throw a frisbee, man, and that thing would just go like, it just like pop out, back in. I did it 12 times, and then I had to get the surgery. And
so after the surgery, it locks it back in, right? Is that my
yeah,
understanding?
they just tighten
Okay.
everything that loosens up over time, right? And when it happens, everything's loose, so it can happen multiple
So
times. Yeah,
you went into way more detail than I thought you were going to there.
it was a
So
great story though. 5 minutes
okay,
in, man, slipping and doing it down like, oh, the way it happened was nasty.
okay, gross. So technically, that shouldn't be an issue for Fajoli this year because I remember Delict had the same thing, but he had to wait to get his surgery done. So hopefully, because Fajoli should be back imminently, right? Like, he's not going to be out for another couple months. I think he's almost ready to get back.
No, he's like, I pretty sure I heard he was training too.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Look
that's
at that, the
good.
knee guy
Another
and the
one here.
shoulder guy from Aldo. I like that. Knee guy, shoulder guy. There you go. But
There you go.
Fajoli's back. You know what the funny thing about Rovella was too in his injury thing? He was able to train yesterday. Right when the move comes back, he was already back, like way ahead of schedule. But nonetheless,
Well,
moot point here.
Eric's popping in here saying it normally takes 12 weeks to recover from surgery. Has it been 12 weeks? Has it been? No, it's been.
Well,
When did
yeah,
he
he
do
got
it?
hurt last. He got hurt towards the end
Oh,
of
right.
the last season, so he's pretty damn close. Yeah.
Was it? Can't remember. Who were we playing?
I don't
What
even
game was
know
that?
if he had the full. So there's a
It
couple.
was a European match. He
There's
did it in.
different surgeries, and I could tell you right now, it was not 12 weeks heal for me because I had arthroscopic. So if he had arthroscopic, like, it's not going to be 12 weeks. It
No, but that's
depends.
what
Like,
Eric's saying too. It should be quicker than that.
but
So
wait, he didn't
he technically
dislocate
should
his
be back.
shoulder. I'm pretty sure he did his collarbone.
He broke his collarbone.
Ah, yeah. So that's totally different. I did my shoulder, but collarbone, what's his face? I'm pretty sure Rogers wasn't 12 weeks when he did his in the NFL too. That's the last
I couldn't even
collarbone I can
imagine.
think of. Yeah.
Jeez. Anyways.
But anyways, busted collarbone, that's a nasty one too. Yeah. But anyways, he's training again. Partial with group. Still good. Now, Illing Jr. Rumors about moving him. Would you be okay? Well, you're not even technically
No.
upset whatsoever about Rovella, but Illing Jr.'s got to stay. I mean, he's got to stay.
Okay, I was perturbed that I'll say as much I can be upset. I was perturbed that DeVinter left. I had high hopes for him. He was the one that I was really hoping would stay in the long term. I always thought he never really put a foot wrong until I saw Houston play, and I'm like, oh, this kid's got it. But
Yeah,
when it comes to
Houston
Illing
looks
Jr.,
great for
I'm
some.
pretty sure last season we had a list. We're like, or it was the end of last season. We said, okay, of these young players, who would you want to stay? We had a whole like 7 of them. Illing Jr. was the one I wanted to stay. So would I be upset if he sold or loaned? Maybe just a little bit. I think he offers more in this squad this season than Rovella would.
Yeah. Huh.
I think he's more.
I think that's fair
I
to
think he
say
could be
when you
used-
look at terms of the midfield and who's going to be playing
Yeah.
the majority of it and whatnot. I don't think that's out of the question. I said something that I was shocked how many people came at me for because they were just like, no chance in hell that happens. But I said if Illing Jr. gets his fair shake of minutes at wingback, I actually believe he'd beat Kostic out for the starting role. I truly feel that way. But there's a lot that disagreed with me and whatnot, but it's how I see it because I think he offers more and whatnot. Cambiaso is an interesting one. I think he's good offensively. Like, I think he adds a lot into the final third. Definitely not afraid to mix it up and get involved, get in the area, and try some 1-2s. Defensively, though, I said this through the preseason, there is a lot of work to be done there. A lot of work to be done there with Cambiaso. He said so himself in his presser and welcoming and whatnot. Hey, he's got a lot of work to do defensively. So I don't think he's going to be the one pushing anybody out on either side. Weah, Kostic, Illing Jr., whatnot. But I think he'll be a great rotational piece. And I think he can strengthen up defensively. And if there's anybody that can do something for players defensively, it's Max Allegri. So I have faith that he's going to round out nicely this season, Cambiaso. But
So you don't see Cambiaso was he brought in also to be a
he can cover
left
on
back
both
or right
sides.
back
He can cover on both
in a
sides.
4-man back?
Yeah.
In a 4-man defense, not a 3.
It doesn't matter because he's playing wing back. Where you're fullback, you're wing back.
There we go.
It is what it is, right? They'll be playing that role. That's what Quadrado ended up going to. That's what our guys in. We tried it with Sandro, but Jesus, is he ever dusted? So he had to go inside to a center back role. But Illing Jr. for me, that you just can't sell him, and you definitely can't sell him right now because of the positions that we talked about and the guys we have around. Illing Jr. can't be sold. However, if the team did that, that one would blow me away more than the Rovella one, to be honest, when we're looking at all things considered.
Would you be shocked if he's loaned with no obligation? Just like a dry loan, come back next year?
I think there's absolutely no point in doing that.
Fair enough.
Absolutely no point. Because if you were going to do that, it's a minutes thing. And if he can't get minutes this season, being a guy to rotate with Kostic, I don't know what the hell we're doing. I don't know what the hell the plan is or anything, really. So, it just makes no sense to me. Like I said, the Rovella thing also makes no sense to me if it's going to be loan and then obligation to purchase.
Yep.
Just loan him out. Loan him out and deal with it. Get back into your top 4, which we should anyways. Get back into more competitions and bring him back again. But Rovella might have said, you know what? That's enough. If that was a plan, he could have just said, that's enough for loans. I'm done with loans. Send me somewhere. So, okay. Caio Jorge.
Hey, hoop. Lucci's boy.
The forgotten man with an... Okay, we were talking about injuries before.
The worst.
This is terrible. That patella...
Whatever we had here, there's yours, there's mine maybe a little bit higher, and then there's this one. Like, this is the worst.
Mine was the by far the least out of all of them. Collarbone, knee, blown out knee, and then patella injury. Like, that is terrible.
This injury and Achilles are probably my nightmare. And these are my nightmare.
Yeah. And here we go. Okay.
Welcome back, kid. Good for you.
He comes back, looks fantastic in that game. Yep. There are fans calling for him to be with the 23-24 side. Ain't going to happen.
No way.
No.
Don't
so
do it.
The tough thing with Caio Jorge when I look at it is, man, he's above next gen. He needs to go to Serie A. But if something were to happen to, say, Milik or Keane or whatever, it would be nice to have him at next gen and be able to pull him up.
And I think take this for what it is. I think J Medical wants to keep him close. They want to keep I'm assuming they want to keep his recovery regime and his minutes. They want to monitor all that in-house. So keep him at next gen. But that's a good point. He's a backup if we need it. Looks like Vlahovic is staying.
Hey, I don't rule anything out yet. There's 2 weeks. It's going to be a scramble. Juve, as it stands right now, if the Zaccaria piece of business goes through, we're about 18 million euros off from balancing the mercato, but not cutting into the deficit over and above that, which they want to do. So, hey, a lot of stuff can happen from here to there. I want to talk before we get into Storm the Barn. Okay, look at the chat. The chat's on fire today. You guys are beauties. Get a like in there too. And Moji comes out and names Juve as favorites for the Scudetto. Now, I talked about this brief in the daily update video after he said it, and I just said, look, I'm not going to go as far to say that we're favorites, but we are closer to favorites than we are just making top 4, if you ask me. We're closer to being a favorite than we are just a top 4 side. That's my opinion.
Uh, Other teams are making moves that will help their top four push, so I slightly disagree with that.
Other teams are also playing multiple competitions, and we are not.
Damn it, that's a good point too. Um, who's in the multi? So everybody: Napoli, Lazio, Inter, Milan, Rome, Fiorentina, Atalanta.
I'm not even going to bring up the teams that I don't even consider in the mix that are going to be in the
Perfect.
mix.
Fully agree.
The teams that are going to be in the mix will be spread across the other competitions. Juventus will not. We will have a tight roster like we're looking at heading into it. We should be able to keep guys healthy playing one competition, okay? J Medical, if it still becomes full in this, we've got problems way beyond what we thought if we can't keep guys relatively fit in one comp. So,
and we want to let people know that we did a lot of shows last year. We ran the numbers. He did. We were doing a lot of shows last year with no midweek games this year.
yeah.
We're still going to do midweek shows. We're not sure what days,
Yeah, we're still going to
but we
mix it
will
up
still
and
do.
do the midweeks.
We'll
We're
mix
going
it
to
up.
have fun. We're going to have fun
Mhm.
this year because the revenge tour starts. I'm telling you, we're closer to favorites than we are just a top four side. One competition. The fact that the roster remains relatively the same should be good from a chemistry standpoint, if we're being honest. The fact that all the crap that went down last season that's now behind us, that should add fuel to the fire for these guys, and they should come back angry. That is the vibes that the guys in LA were saying was going around the training sessions, and kind of the words that the players were speaking in private, in training sessions, in autograph session and whatnot. It's like, yeah, no, we're hungry, we're pissed, like it's time to get back to it. I hope that we see that and can feel that energy on the pitch. Okay, I hope that we could see that come through in this side. But honestly,
Yeah, we didn't see that last season until like November.
There's no reason why we can't be in the race. And another thing that I highlighted before, I'll say it again. All bullshit aside, last season we were top four. We were top four with the points that we had. We were what?
Correct.
13 off of being where we wanted to be, or whatever, 13 to 15 points. I look at the games that we dropped last season for a multitude of different reasons, okay? There
I
is
can think of
easily that many points that we can boost ourselves this season only playing in one competition. It's not going to take a massive turnaround to get where we want to be. If we can clean up the bullshit from last season in terms of play, in terms of how certain approach was to certain games, and get after this thing, if we can get our key guys firing, Vlahovic stays, Kesef stays, I see no reason why we can't be in the mix if, while we were in shambles last season, we still got top four and spread across all these other positions. I see no reason why this team can't be in the race, Ant.
So we got Salernitana draw. That's the one with the bad offside call. So there's 1 point. Monza lost. That's
That
when
would have
Di
been
Maria
2
got the
points
red.
because we got draw. So that would have been an extra
Sorry,
2
2 points. Sorry, you're right. Sorry,
we
2
had
points
the
there.
awful showing against Sampdoria, who's dog shit. We had
Hang
2
on.
drop games to Monza. That's 9 points right there, plus the Salernitana fuck up. That's 11 points right there.
So in the first 9 games, to your point, draw to Sampdoria. There's 2. Where there was the draw to Fiorentina. There's 4.
Oh,
Draw to Salernitana. There's 6. Lost to Monza. There's 9. And then we lost to Milan 2-0. That's 12 points in the
I
first 9
see.
games.
So again, when we talk, and we know what happened with, Milan, Napoli, and everything, but to be honest, we've always known that those big games, they're coin flips sometimes. Okay, they're coin flips. But when you're dropping those types of games, that's where you lose out on the seasons. Okay, that's when you lose out on the seasons. The Salernitanas, the Sampdorias, the Monzas, like that's where you lose out big time.
1-0 to Sassuolo.
The Roma defeat
one
was brutal. That 1-0
one one one
you
one to
know,
Bologna.
in a game where we just couldn't score. That one was on the guys. Like, holy shit.
4-1 loss to Empoli.
Yeah, Empoli's in there. Look,
So
I see no reason why in one comp we can't do damage this season and get in the race. Like, that's what I expect. I expect to be in the race. Like I said, Scudetto, if we get it done, fantastic. Okay, I can't wait for celebrations of the next Scudetto whenever that may be. But I do have the base expectation to be competing for the Scudetto next season. Do you agree? Disagree?
the I disagreed until I looked at those scores from last year. Like there are some brutal games in there. That Empoli 4-1 loss really, that one almost broke me. I was hanging in there until that. I think that was the game right after the points were re put on, like the -10. I think that was the game right after that.
Yeah.
And they announced it like 15 minutes before kickoff. So,
And,
but
Ron Rositano, Scudetto or bust. Omar, we had enough horrible losses last season for at least 4 seasons. Feel
it's
that.
true.
We've got Jockey Bro. We should be in the race, but not favorites. That's why I say we are closer to favorites than we are just a top 4 side, if you ask me. Okay?
Fair enough.
If the roster stays the same. Aldo saying, how many points did Napoli get last season playing multiple comps? We should not underestimate our opponents, even if their squads have changed. It's not underestimating our opponents. It's highlighting the fact that we don't have to. It's not this crazy feat that we're asking from Juve. Okay? We're not even talking about the big games that didn't go our way with Milan, Napoli, and whatnot. It's highlighting how many drop games, the games that you have to win to be in those races. Okay?
Yep.
And you also have to factor in Napoli had no pressure last season. And the only ones that could have provided pressure for a moment in the season, some duration, was us, and that was taken away. And that adds an element to it as well. This
it's a
season
good point.
is going to be wide open, I think.
Yeah, the rest of the league, winning the Scudetto is not an easy feat. But I'm gonna put a big ass button here. The rest of the league did a lot of favors to Napoli in terms of beating each other, dropping points. Like Inter had 11 losses last year or something. It was double-digit losses, which is insane for those bigger clubs. Milan was up and down. So the rest of the league did Napoli a lot of favors. They were very consistent. That's what they did. They were consistent. So I guess to Berto's point is just be consistent.
Be
That's it.
consistent, like, just, again, you
Compete.
got to get after those games that you got to win. You have to get after those games you got to win. Prediction show coming up. It's going to be a live
Next
one
week.
a week from today. Okay, Tony Trim
I'll be
talking
there.
about it in there. Yes, we're going to get to that. Now, everybody, we got some time to do some Storm the Barn. Okay, so let's get into
go. Fire
Storm
'em
the
up.
Barn. You guys have been absolute fire today, as always, in the chat. Love it. I can't wait to work out this final kink on this software and get you guys back in the show where you need to be, highlighting those comments, all right? But get your Storm the Barn questions in now. Tony, for you, do you have anything we didn't touch on you wanted to bring up, you want to highlight before we get right into Storm the Barn? And I love Apex with the positivity there. We are hoisting 39 this season. I love it.
Do I have any questions? I was trying to check if I have any questions or notes. I do not. Let me go through the comments here. Oh, here we go. Napoli is out of top 4 this year for me. That's Tony Trim saying that.
Napoli out of top 4. I don't see that.
Neither do I.
No, I don't see that happening. Inter, for 830 million in debt, just keeps making moves, and it's funny. They just keep going after these guys left, right, and center. We saw the Samardzic fall apart, which I laughed. Everybody was hoping that was going to be Juve stepping in after the Rovella deal. Well, we need money. We need money to make a move, and the Rovella money I don't think is even coming in now, but I wanted to highlight those numbers specifically for everybody so you guys could see where we actually stand. Still work to do and deals to be done to break even and have the mercato be a flat zero. And of course, we still have debts to cut into, but we will see. Vlahovic, Ron Rusitano, storm the barn. Over under 20 goals, Vlahovic. Let's kick things off with that one, and
So I don't really want to get into the predictions, all right? Because the predictions, we're going to save that for next week. But I will give this one up. Vlahovic over under 20 goals. I will say you got to give me a half. You got to give me the half. Is it 19 and a half or is it 20 and a half? Because I think he'll have
20 and a half.
Under. Okay, I'm going to say he's going to have 20.
I'm going under.
I think it's going to be under 20. If it's 20 and a half, it's under.
If this is from Joey Cappuccino. If we sign one more player before deadline day, who do you want it to be?
Again, I don't care about anybody outside of Juventus.
For me, going back to what we said, Thuram, Kefren Thuram. Just because of how I feel about the midfield, and if we are going to be loaning Miretti and Nicolucci Caviglia, bring me Kefren Thuram. And that would actually make me feel a little bit better about the Rovella thing.
I'm going to piggyback on that because I still think DeCilio plays more minutes than Pogba this season. So
no chance. Strong chance. Strong. I shouldn't say no. That's a strong chance there. But I'm going to say no. Now, we got one from Vedad here saying, do you think that those drops after 15 to 20 minutes being stronger side are acceptable this year? I expect us running like a lion, chasing us since you are playing 90 freaking minutes per week. So do you think that those drops after 15 to 20 minutes being stronger side are acceptable this year? No. I mean, I didn't like it last year. I didn't like the fact that we never play like we very rarely played full solid 90s. There were some games where we did.
Maybe two? There's like two games.
And it doesn't mean on the throttle for the full 90, but just a solid, determined 90, like very rare, right? But I will say this. You look for the small things in preseason. And I noticed right away, even going back to the Milan game, that our fitness looks better. Like, we didn't look so gassed as we did this time last season. We looked gassed right away this time last year. I think we're going to be in better condition this season than what we were accustomed to last. And hopefully that affects that.
Yeah, the whole thing with the playing a solid 90, I'll say that there was a lot of games where the other team never threatened us. They may have had possession, but defensively, we were solid. Very few, I would say, concerning shots. There was maybe some shots on goal, but nothing that ever really threatened Tech or Petty. There was a lot of games like that. The issue with those games was we didn't create on the other end. We didn't create any scoring chances. So it seemed like we didn't put together a 90-minute game when in actual fact we did. We had a lot of good 90-minute games defensively, but offensively, and like possession, we'd have possession. The other team wasn't threatening. It's just we didn't create any chances. We got to that final third, and then there was nothing. So is that a complete game? It sort of is, but we just couldn't score.
Yeah.
So we just need to score this season.
Apex comes in saying, going back to Vlahovic, I saw Dusan in person this summer. He's going to be close to 20 goals. Dude is looking ready.
So am I.
You know what? This is going to be a very telling season for Dusan Vlahovic. And not only if he remains with Juve, but even if he moves somewhere, this is a big, big season in terms of him and his career in general.
Yeah.
Big year for Vlahovic. I had questions. I wasn't the only one that had questions about his mentality and everything like that. But this year, we're going to find out a lot about Dusan Vlahovic. I'm
Like a
rooting for the
revenger.
kid. I'm rooting for him.
I think we all are. And it's great because we have you had those nice Vlahovic t-shirts, and I get to keep it. I really like that
those
t-shirt.
are still just beauties, those ones, man. Those Vlahovic tees are sick.
Yeah,
Still
very nice.
out there on the store. And the new BBBC design out to pay homage to, of course, one of the greatest defensive units ever assembled. But Bonucci's leaving a sour taste in people's mouth, but the shirt is still sick. The gear's sick.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who chooses to support us in that way, we really, really appreciate it. Sal Agrusa, Max's team always peaks later in the season without Champions League. When do we think it's fair to judge Max this season?
Game 1.
Wow.
Game 1 through 38. He is going to be judged every effing week by me. Can't drop points. There are no excuses. 1 to 38.
So usually the cool head around here has decided that he's breaking the mold this season, and fuck it, game 1, he's on Max's ass. Okay,
no excuses. I don't want to hear it.
We are gonna know everything we need to know about Max Allegri, season 3, and this Juventus in the first month of action. And I say within the first month, we will know enough because it's only one competition, everybody, okay? So 1 month's worth of action will tell me everything I need to know about this year, okay?
There is an international break, right, in September? So
there is international break. Actually, I think it's mid-October.
Okay.
Mid-October,
so he's gonna
international break. Everybody in Toronto, yes, you just wait for that mid-October international break. Oh my God, it's killing me. I want to announce it, and I'm so upset that we have to wait, but T.O., do not book anything or plan anything for that international break, okay? Because I'm going to have something.
I already booked it. I'm already there, man.
Animesh.
I'm already there.
Animesh, store in the barn. Who do you think will be our top scoring midfielder?
I will not answer that question until next Saturday. Because I have no idea. But let's save that one for the prediction show. Sorry, Animesh. Great question. Not going to answer it.
Yeah, we'll save that one for the prediction show. But
good question, though.
I'm just going to twist it to, do we think it's going to be Rabiot again?
I, again, will not answer that
And
question.
are we considering the wingbacks in the midfield? Because they are listed technically as mid.
Yes. I would list them as the wingbacks. So, Weah, Kostic, Cambiaso.
I might actually think that Rabiot is still our leading midfielder.
Who scores more goals this year, Pogba or De Sciglio?
Pogba.
I still say De Sciglio.
Oh, I'm taking you on that bet, man. And if I win it, you have to shave a reverse mohawk in your head. So just a strip down the middle.
Oh, just a strip down the middle. There's no bet.
I'll just put this out there. Strip in the middle and keep the size.
I'll just put this out there for everybody, just so there's no confusion or heartbreak. There are no bets I would ever take that mess with this. All right, I'm not doing it. I'm not 21 anymore. I don't have time for that nonsense. All right, I can't walk around with a shaved head. What are you even talking about here?
Oh man. Okay, I'm trying to keep up here with these storm the bar. Man, we got a lot here. Pinsolio, is Pinsolio starting against Udinese from Omer? No. Come on. No.
How many minutes does Pinsolio get this year?
37.
Oh, that's a good one. Put that in. 37.
Caught you off guard with that one. There you go.
Tech isn't even on the list. Is he still? Did he pick up an injury or something?
No, on the list for today. Was dealing with a shoulder problem.
But he's on the team list. Tech isn't today.
Oh, I
Interesting.
don't know. Last preseason, whatever. I don't think he's got any injuries though. I haven't heard
He's just
anything.
hacking butts.
Yeah. Look, everybody, it seems that there's a good, healthy mix of optimism with skepticism and everything, and we don't
Yep.
really know what we're gonna get.
Not a
And
clue.
I've been saying this when it comes to Max Allegri is that we got into a discussion on Twitter, and the fan said trust in Max, and I said that trust needs to be rebuilt. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I said the 5 years that were glorious, that doesn't matter now. Now he's running on 2 years
Agreed.
that have been subpar. He's going into his third year. He needs to rebuild that trust. Okay. We need to see. And the funny thing is, I said it when he came back. A portion into that first season back. And I said, this team will not take the next step until Max himself changes. I stand behind that. Until he adapts himself a bit, I still see struggles. But this season, one comp, the roster, I still think is strong enough. I say we're going to do some damage. But Max Allegri, in terms of this trust that some fans still feel with it, I can respect it. Okay, I have no problems with it. But I'm saying for me, it's got to be earned back from where we stand. And I said that in terms of players he was choosing. When it comes to players, I said Max for me has burnt that out and dried that up. So if you're gonna make decisions on assets and everything like that based on Max, he's in the same boat as Jay Medical for me. If Jay Medical is calling a player like, no, back out of this guy, like he's okay, I would get some other recommendations and whatnot. And with Max, he's got to earn it back for me. And when it comes to player and calling for guys he wants, he's burnt that up with a list of guys. And it also dates back to pushing Pirlo out of Milan. So for me, I would go very, very easy on pushing assets or pushing moves or making moves based off his direction. It has to make sense from a business standpoint. And that's the last point I'm going to make about Rovella, is that from a business standpoint, I don't like the numbers. But Max has to earn my trust back. Anth, are you in the same boat? Sounds like it. If game one, you're going to be touching up.
My thing is, there's a lot of Max supporters out there, and I get it. You want to, we should be supporting the manager, and I think we do. I think we want him to do well. We want Max to succeed. And I agree with you that those previous 5 years, his previous tenure, you can't even look at that. Like that, looking at that makes no sense to me. I don't get why you do that, because nothing from that has translated to these past 2 years. Like there's been no.
I don't do that. What do you mean? Why I do that? I don't do that.
No, I'm just saying there's people out there that.
Oh yeah, the previous
like his
cycle,
defenders,
yeah.
and I you can respect the fact that people stick up for him, but I'm gonna throw this back to you. Does the excuse that Max doesn't have his players in this squad hold water? Can you say if there's any failures this season, at the end of the season, is there an excuse that says Max doesn't have his guys? For me, having the backbone of Vlahovic, Chiesa, Bremer, Locatelli, Danilo, two solid goalkeepers, and then a lot of role players kind of in there. He has his guy Rabiot. For me, that excuse does not hold water. Regardless, this squad here should finish top 3. It should.
Oh yeah, we've been talking about that this show as well. I'm expecting a battle in the race. If we want to talk about the players, I'm going to stand by the same thing I said at the end of this past season. For everybody that was saying we have to get Max his guys. Look at what we're seeing in the mercato. This is exactly what we were saying. And what I was saying is, if you're waiting for him to get the caliber of guys that everybody believes he needs to do damage and win everything and whatnot, it's not happening anytime soon. So if that's the thing we're going to cling to, it doesn't matter. It comes down to getting the job done with the guys you have in front of you. It can't be, we got to do this, we got to do that, no, it's like, here's where we're at. It has to get done. And if you're not the guy, then we need the guy. So this season, I'm out of excuses. I'm out of anything else. Like, it's time for us to put up and shut up. And that's everybody. That's players included. Yes. Okay? Players included. And if you're not up to it, and I was saying this last season too, when I was watching Paredes come in looking lazy as hell like a Sunday league player, and I was saying, get him off and don't put him back out there. I don't care if we're paying him for the season. Send him back early and we'll keep paying for it. Okay, so just stop. Enough with the nonsense from all involved. Players, coaching, everybody. It's time to put up or shut up. And honestly, I think the team is going to do a lot better than many people think, especially all those outside the Juventus community. I will say that right now. I think this team battles and finishes in the top 2 this season, but I'll get way more into my predictions next season. We've got another Storm the Barn I wanted to get
last
to.
One.
I saw here, and
last one.
Jeremiah. Can Max get the best out of Dusan this season, and can Dusan live up to the high expectations at Juve? I'm going to say yes to both. And I'll tell you why.
Before you tell us why, I'm going to say the track record is against that. I hope that he can get the best out of Dusan this season. I really do. Because I want to put a Dusan jersey up on the wall and take the Dybala one off. Or should I take the Dybala? I got to make some changes.
Yeah, who are you, Lex? Take the Dybala one down. What the hell?
Hey, take it easy. Take it easy.
Don't tell me what to do. Okay. Dusan, yes, Max can get the most out of Dusan. And this is why. Is we made a signing that went under the radar. And if you've been paying attention to subtle little nuances through the preseason games, you can see a slight change. This has nothing to do with Vlahovic, but it does have to do with the way the team plays and sequences that we are attempting, which get us deeper in the enemy territory and more easily than we were doing last season. That signing was that Magnanelli that came in, and he has been working strictly with offense. For those of you that follow the NFL, think of it as an offensive coordinator. That was a big move. And if you guys remember last season, I said if Max, if I were Max, I would just give it up and say, look, I need somebody to work with the offensive phase of our game and everything and help and have that offensive help. Juve addressed that and did that. So I'm really, really looking at this team having a bigger boost offensively and in the attack. And there have been nuances and sequences that we've seen in the preseason. Again, subtle because it's really small sample size that you're seeing with our main guys out there through this. But I'm telling you, it's gonna amount to something. And I think Dusan, with all the nonsense, all these rumors, all this and whatnot, I think he is going to play with this chip on his shoulder. And I think he's going to be just having a strong year. We get him on free kicks. We get him on PK so that he can bag some goals and keep that confidence kind of going. Because when you're scoring, it doesn't matter how they go in. A shot from another player can hit your chest and go in. If it goes in, you're feeling good. We got to keep him feeling good. But I say yes to both of those. And I stand by it. And come prediction show, 1 week from today, I'm really going to dive in and I'm going to give you guys some... I got some beauties, some bold stuff in there. Oh, yeah.
You were saying that last night. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I got some beauty predictions, and I'm going to lay in and tear into the Chihuahuas out there and everybody. Oh, yeah, I'm feeling good about this season, but everybody knows we could be down in the dumps, in the gutter, whatnot, and then the game will be tomorrow morning, and I'll be upbeat, positive, ready to go. But yeah, Tony Trim, you're right. Everybody else, all those damn Chihuahuas are going to get the day. I'm ready for this year. I'm ready for the revenge tour to start, and I've kept receipts on all those silly little bastards talking about dynasties. Don't talk to me about dynasty. You didn't want to talk dynasty when we ran it 9 straight, and now you want to talk dynasty first in 30 years? I'm ready for Juve. I hope Juve's ready to back me up, because I'm going to be, I'm going to be a bitch for the rivals this year. You can bank on that. I just hope the team backs me up. And I think they will. I have faith. Woo!
Maybe.
And Ants, you're going to be right there with me. You got no choice.
I have absolutely nothing else to do. Nothing else to do.
There you go, everybody. Again, hey, for the first run for the software, not bad. Had the hiccup with the comments, but I got the chat up after. I am going to find a way to get you guys in the show, because we love having you guys involved. The chat was still fired. Absolutely. Drop a like before you take off. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the friendly today. The last friendly before the season kicks off against Udinese. Juve against those juicers. Atalanta. Okay? Easy on the roids, boys. And go
Clown
get that
show.
done. What's that?
Clown show.
Yes. The clown show. The clown show. Let's take it to those juice monkeys today. Enjoy your weekends, everybody. Okay? I'll be chatting throughout the game on Twitter and everything. You guys can catch me there. And then, of course, daily update video tomorrow, Lakeside. And then, then we got the prediction show next. And I also we're probably going to have a midweek one with a special guest too, all right? So a lot of fun stuff coming. And we've got the first jersey giveaway to kick the season off coming very, very soon. So stay tuned. That's going to be the first of 10 to come, okay? Because Max Allegri remains. I'm a man of my word, all right? And we've got 10 kits going out, and the first one's coming up to kick the season off, okay? Thank you all for your continued support, and I am so damn ready for this season. And prediction for the match today, Juventus 3, Atalanta 1. That's mine.
I was going to say 4-2.
4-2. That's a solid preseason friendly scoreline there, Ant. I like it. But I'm going 3-1. 3-1. We got some 2-0s, 3-0s. There you go. And Calcio with Reno Z. I am going to be on his show Monday. All right. So everybody, if you want to have some fun, check it out and check out something different. All right. Go check out his channel, follow it, subscribe, and you'll see me there Monday. We're going to have some fun, only talking Juve. Reno does cover Calcio, but we're going to do a Juve show on Monday, all right? So show some love to our brother, our friend there, Reno, and check it out, and I'll see you all Monday there as well. Take care, everybody. As always, fino alla fine, forza Juve. Ciao a tutti.